He appears with all his splendor and all his glories. No, even when Krishna appeared in this world, he did not appear like any ordinary living entity. How did he appear? No. In one way, it seemed when he appeared in Gokul, he was weeping, born from the womb of Mother Yashoda. The umbilical cord cutting ceremony took place, Jap Sanskar took place, and everything else took place. But still, why was that? That was his Naravat Leela. Naravat. Nar means like human. Vat means like a human, but not human. Naravat Leela means past tense that are like a human being, but not like a human itself. And we see even when Krishna appeared in the prison of Kansa, there we see that when Devaki gave birth to 7 children, and then when Baladev and Krishna appeared also, it is said that each of their children, how were they born, each of that child? It is said that Vasudeva himself, he transferred his potency into the womb of Devaki, not like any ordinary human being. No. How did he do that? Through his mantra shakti. Through his mantra shakti, by the potency of his mantras, he transferred that virja, means that potency to beget a child within the womb of Devaki. Similarly, even when Sri Ramchandra appeared, how did he appear in this world? No, Dasharatha Maharaj, he performed a yajna, a fire sacrifice, and then the yajna vasisht means the yajna bhag, the remnants of the fire sacrifice were given to Dasharatha. And Dasharatha, what did he do? He divided that portion into 2 halves. One half he gave to Kaushalya and one half he gave to Kaikeyi. And then what did Kaushalya and Kaikeyi do? They gave one half each of their portion to Sumitra. And this way, one child was born from Kaikeyi, from Kaushalya, and 2 were born from Sumitra. So this is Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Bharat also. Ram, Lakshman, Shatrugna and Bharat, they also appeared in a very special way. And we see how Mahaprabhu appeared. How did Mahaprabhu appear in this world? When everyone was chanting, everyone was so ecstatic, thinking about Sri Hari, then he appeared. So we see that even when Krishna or his incarnations appear in this world, they appear in a very special way. Although it seemed that he appeared as an ordinary human being in Gokul, why was that? That was only to show to the Mathuravasis that Krishna is actually who? He is the son of Nanda and Yashoda. No. Like today we were just learning that verse where it said that Vaikunta Janita Vara Madhupuri Tatrapi Rasotsava. Then it said that Krishna, he appeared in Madhupuri. He appeared in Mathura. But where did he take birth in? He took birth in Gokul. Oh, he is Yashodanandan. He is Nandanandan. No. Therefore, when Gurudev would go to Mathura, when he would go to Gokul, when he would speak Katha there, Gurudev would speak such Rasik Katha. And he would say that Krishna is actually the son of Nanda and Yashoda. And Gurudev used to say that in Gokul. Gurudev said, I have a mat in Mathura. This Keshavji Gaudiya mat is in Mathura. We've been teaching there for more than 50 years now. But still, why do I come to Gokul and tell everyone that Krishna is the son of Nanda and Yashoda? He said, I have no desire to please the Mathuravasis by saying that, Krishna is the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He's eternally the son of Nanda and Yashoda. And sometimes even when the Pandavas there in Gokul, when they would, by slip of tongue, or sometimes they would say that, Krishna, he was born to Devaki and Vasudeva, but because Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna, he was taken away by Devaki and Vasudeva to Gokul. So when the Pandavas there in Gokul would speak this Katha, and Gurudev would become so angry, would become so upset. He said, how can you say this? No, you people are born here. You people are residents of Gokul. And you are saying that Krishna was born in Mathura and brought here. How can you say this? He said, you are saying this because the Mathuravasis, they have given you nice pedas, nice sweets. They have given you nice bribes. Taking these sweets, these bribes, you are saying that he is born here in Mathura. Don't say like this, Gurudev said. He said, make a promise to yourself that you never say that Krishna is born where? In Mathura. Rather, he is born in Gokul. No, this was Gurudev's specialty. Even when Gurudev would be in Jagannath Puri, he glorified Navdeep Dham. He'd say that Navdeep is not different from Vrindavan. But can you say the same thing about Jagannath Puri? The Jagannath Puri is not different from Vrindavan. No. All the 12 forests of Vrindavan, they are present within the 9 islands of Navadvip. But can this be said about Jagannath Puri? Mahaprabhu, when he saw the ocean, he was reminded of Yamuna. No, some people say that, some devotees may think that, because the ocean is present in Jagannath Puri, the ocean is the Yamuna, or that this Chatak Parvat is present there, the sand dune. Since Chatak Parvat is present there, Giriraj Govardhan is also present there. Aitota is also there. Aitota there, so the Jagannath Vallabh Patika, these beautiful gardens are also there. So someone may think that this Vrindavan is also here in Jagannath Puri. Therefore Vrindavan, Govardhan, Yamuna, they're all present here in Jagannath Puri, so not different from Navadvip. But Gurudev said no. He said that Mahaprabhu, when he would see the ocean, it would give him so much uddipan that it would remind him of the Yamuna. Why would he jump inside the ocean? No, Mahaprabhu, as soon as he would look at the ocean, he would be reminded of Radha, Krishna and their Leelas, and he'd jump inside the ocean. But why? What was the reason? The cause? No, he did not think of the ocean to be the Yamuna itself, but that Uddipan made him so mad in Mahabhav that he lost any sense of discrimination. Mahabhav, in English it is roughly translated as the highest ecstatic love. This is the definition you get in all of Gurudev's books. But in and itself, Mahabhav cannot really be explained or described. Mahabhav. Maha means what? Means great, greatest. Great, greater, greatest. The greatest form of bhav. And what is this bhav? Not the bhav that is before prem. No. There is Shraddha, Anartha Nivritti, Bhajan Kriya, Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti, bhav, prem. Not this bhav. Which is the bhav we are talking about? Prem, Sneh, Man, Pranay, Rag, Anurag, bhav, Mahabhav. This is the Mahabhav we are talking about. So Mahaprabhu, when he be absorbed in this Mahabhav, and Srimati Radharani's these highest moods of prayer, he lose all sense of discrimination. He lose his own self. He didn't even realize where he was. Therefore, he would jump into the ocean, thinking, this is the Yamuna. And then sometimes he'd see this Chatak Parvat and say, this is Giriraj. And he'd be reminded of all of Radha and Krishna's pastimes there. And sometimes he'd see this Aitota or Jagannath Vallabh Patika, think, this is Vrindavan. No. Therefore, when Prataprudra Maharaj spoke the Gopi Geet to Mahaprabhu and Aitota, Mahaprabhu was so happy, he embraced him. Why? Because Mahaprabhu felt he was in Vrindavan listening to this Gopi Geet. So therefore, when Gurudev was in Jagannath Puri, he'd say that Mahaprabhu being absorbed in Srimati Radhika's pranay, in a rag, root, avirut, modan, madan, and all these ecstatic bhavs, Mahaprabhu would lose consciousness and it cannot make any difference between the ocean or between Chatak Parvat or between Aitota, nothing. But still, Jagannath Puri cannot be called Vrindavan. But then this question was raised that some pure devotees, they regarded Jagannath Puri as Vrindavan. So then Gurudev, he reconciled and he said that a pure devotee, wherever he is, he only sees Vrindavan. No, wherever he is, he only sees Vrindavan. So therefore, even there in Jagannath Puri, Gurudev would glorify Navadvip so much. Similarly, all the Gurudev preached in Mathura for more than 50-60 years, still any place he'd go, he'd only glorify Vrindavan. In fact, he even chastised the Mathuravasis sometimes, saying the Mathuravasis, the residents of Mathura, they're liars. He would say that Vasudeva, he took the daughter of Yashoda away. And then what did he do? Did he ever tell Yashoda and Nanda that I took your daughter away? Did he ever confide to them? Did he ever tell them the truth? Rather, he took their son away. Krishna, no, he took Krishna away after 10 years. And what did Vasudeva do? After 10 years, when it was time for Krishna's Upanayan Sanskar, his thread-giving ceremony, they decided that Krishna should be sent away to Ujjain, which is Sandipani Muni's Gurukul there. They decided we should send him away there. Why? Because they knew that if Krishna were to stay here in Mathura, then he'd surely be reminded of Nanda and Yashoda, and immediately he would leave Mathura and return to Vrindavan. He will not stay here for one single moment. Therefore, anyhow, they wanted to distract him. Anyhow, they wanted to divert his mind away. So therefore, they said, okay, Krishna, now you go to that, now you go there to Ujjain, this Avanti Nagari, and there, Avantika Nagari, and there you stay under the guidance of Sandipani Muni. So then Krishna and Baladev, why did they decide to go to Ujjain, to Avantika Nagari? Because they knew that Sandipani Muni, he was actually a Shaivite. He was a devotee of Lord Shiva. So they knew that if they would go there, they would not be recognized by him. No, he was absorbed in his worship of Lord Shiva, Shiva Thakur. So therefore, if Krishna and Baladev would go there, they knew that he will not recognize us as Bhagavan themselves. He would only recognize us as some small boys. So intentionally, purposefully, they went there. And then Krishna and Baladev, they did not even go on the chariot there. They went walking all the way from Mathura to Avantika Nagari, like hundreds of kilometers. They went walking there. And when they went walking there, all the people there, whomever they came across, all these elderly ladies, they would see Krishna and Baladev, and they would think, oh, if we could only have them as our sons. And any young girl, she'd look at them and she'd think, oh, if I could only have them as my husband. Especially this dark boy, And when they reached there, in Ujjain, Sandipani Muni, what did he do? He said, right now, he said, I cannot admit you in my school because I already have so many students. And so I cannot admit you. So therefore, both of you should do some other things, like collecting Bhiksha and all these things. And then Krishna and Baladev, like very ordinary boys, they would go house to house and they would collect Bhiksha and they would do all these other things there. Even bringing water from the well for their Guru Mata, wife of Sandipani Muni, and all these other tasks. And we see even that Leela where Krishna and Sudam, they even bought dry firewood, even it was raining so much. There was Musaladhar Varsha. Musaladhar means like one drop of rain was like a pillar, like a column, the size of one drop. But still, they anyhow rendered Guru Seva. So then, after Krishna returned from Ujjain, Avantika Nagari, then we hear that actually the Mathuravasis, they desired that Krishna forget Vrindavan. But then when he returned from Ujjain, his remembrance of Vrindavan became even stronger. No, he did not forget. His remembrance grew all the more, it grew even more every single day. So therefore, when it was time for the Upanayan Sanskar, you see that Krishna's Upanayan Sanskar was never performed in Vrindavan. It is said that for the Brahmins, Upanayan Sanskar is performed until the age of 5. For Kshatriyas until the age of 10. And for Vaishyas until the age of 14. This sacred thread-giving ceremony is performed there. So since Krishna was born in the Vaishya family there in Braj, he was never given the sacred thread of Vishnu. Therefore, he was never married there also. No, sometimes some Brajvasis think that Krishna was married to Srimati Radhika. But this is not the case. Because he can only be married to someone else if this sacred thread-giving ceremony has been performed. So when it has not even been performed in the first place, then how can he be given in marriage? How can Radharani be given in marriage to him? So therefore, when he returned here, then this ceremony was performed. And he was like 11 years old, something like that. So then, when the Upanayan Sanskar was to be performed, then it is said that Yashoda herself had previously promised to Krishna that when your ceremony would be performed, I'd give you as much as you like, whatever you want. And therefore, when the ceremony was performed, Krishna, thinking about Mother Yashoda, and with his bag, jolly, he went looking everywhere for his mother, saying, Mother, where are you? Where are you? He was weeping in separation. And Devaki would always appear in front of him, but he'd not even look at Devaki, he'd only be looking at Mother Yashoda. And then thinking about Mother Yashoda, he just fell to the ground unconscious. And what was Mother Yashoda's condition like? Mother Yashoda once, in the middle of the day, when it was so hot, what did she do? She took all of Krishna's toys, she tied them up in a bundle, and then what did she do? She put them on her shoulders, and she started walking outside Nandamavan. Then all the Brajvasis asked her, where are you going? Maya, where are you going? Then she said, oh, I'm going to Mathura. There, I only desire that I will work for Devaki the whole day as a maid servant. And what will I ask from her? Only one thing. That she will allow me to have darshan of her son, of her baby boy. That is who? That is Krishna himself. And then speaking these words, she fell unconscious. And then Krishna, while his Upanayan Sanskar was being performed, what happened? Looking for his mother, he fell unconscious. So this is this prayer. So Gurudev, when he'd speak in Mathura, he'd speak this Katha. He'd speak the Katha only of the Brajavasis. He'd not speak the Katha of the Mathuravasis. Why? Because he said in Mathura, he said that everyone should know, realize the glory of the Vrindavan Vasis, of the Brajavasis. No. Like we hear that Leela, no. That why did Param Gurudev choose this place, Mathura, to open Keshavji Gaudiya Math? No, when Keshavji Gaudiya Math was officially opened on Annakoot Mahotsav, 1956, then there was a big function, everyone came. But then Param Gurudev could have opened a temple in Vrindavan. No, why Mathura? So then Param Gurudev, he explained. No, even some devotees were like, oh, he's staying in Mathura because many of these zamindars, Seths means these landlords, and all these wealthy people, they have their business there. So it is easy to maintain the temple in Mathura. Therefore, he opened the temple there. But what is the real reason? No, all the Marwadis stay there, all the Hindis. So it is easy to get donation from them. But no, what was the real reason? Param Gurudev explained. The real reason is that when Krishna is alone in Mathura, who is there to pacify him in his separation? Who is there? No. Like when Srimati Radhika was in Uddhav Kyari, and when Uddhav came across Srimati Radhika, what did he see? He saw that there was one golden personality who looked exactly like a doll, and she was lying down on a bed of flowers. And these flowers, because of the heat of Srimati Radhika's separation, they had dried completely. They had withered away. Withered away means these flowers had become like dry leaves, And then the more camphor, sandalwood, the Sakis were applying on Srimati Radhika, the more it was cracking up. The sandalwood paste on her skin. It was cracking up and it was coming off her body. So they didn't know what to do. And when Uddhav saw this, he became completely confused. He didn't know what to do. But still, although Srimati Radhika was in such a state of separation, she had so many Sakis to pacify her. No, she had so many of her friends, like Lalita, Vishaka and others to console her. But who was there for Krishna in Mathura? No one was there for him in Mathura. No, who was there? He sent Uddhav thinking that if Uddhav will go there and then he will return, he will help me, he will pacify these moods of separation that are raging within my heart. But then Uddhav, what happened when he went to Vrindavan, when he saw the prayam of the Vrajavasis, Uddhav, he lost his composure. Means, Uddhav, he was thinking that how can this be prayam? They are only weeping in separation. He said, how can there be any happiness in this prayam? Uddhav said, I cannot understand, so he left. He said, I cannot understand the nature of this prayam, and he left. Even Uddhav, he failed the examination. So there was no one to console Krishna there in Mathura. So then Param Gurudev said, by opening a temple here in Mathura, in the heart of Mathura, what will we do? We will only speak the glories of Srimati Radhika. And only speaking the glories of Srimati Radhika, we will have this, we will give happiness to Krishna by doing so. The separation of Krishna will be cool when he listens to the glorification of his most beloved Gopi, Srimati Radhika herself. Therefore, they opened the temple there, right there in the heart of Mathura. And then what did Param Gurudev do? The first thing he did was to establish the deity of Krishna, which had the complexion of Srimati Radhika herself. Which is, Krishna was not black there, he was golden. Thinking about Srimati Radhika, this Shringarvat, he lost his black complexion and he became golden there. And the same deity was established there. So therefore, from there, Gurudev's preaching began, and then it spread all around the world. And what did he tell everyone? That always think of Krishna as the beloved of Srimati Radharani, Srimati Radhika. Don't think of Krishna in any other way. No, anywhere he'd go, he'd tell everyone what is the meaning of Radha. Meaning of Radha means, Ra means as soon as Krishna sees her, he becomes full of anurag. And Dha means Dhavitona, means As soon as Krishna sees Srimati Radhika, immediately he runs towards her, not that she runs towards him. Not that she becomes full of anurag for him, rather he becomes full of anurag for her and he runs towards her. This is the meaning of Radha. This way, everywhere he went, he would only say, chant the name of Radha, chant the name of Radha. So this way, he appeared in this world and he blessed us with such divine, insightful wisdom. And he made us realize the goal of our lives is to only help in the meeting of Shri Radha and Krishna. In other words, the goal of our lives is to become the maidservant of Srimati Radhika. But he said, don't jump to the top. Begin from the root. And what is the root? The root is Shraddha itself. He said, have firm faith. Not just mundane, worldly faith. Laukiki Shraddha. Have Paramarthiki Shraddha. And then he said, gradually, when you have strong faith that Krishna Bhakti is the only purpose in life, there is no other purpose in life, then you gradually come to the next stage. What is that? Sadhu Sangha. You associate with the devotees. You associate with the genuine sadhus. And then what will happen? Bhajan Kriya. Then gradually you will take up the process of bhajan. Means you will start following the 9 limbs of bhakti. Beginning with which limb? Shravanam. Means to listen always. And then automatically you will do kirtan and then smara. And then anartha nivritti. All your anarthas will gradually leave. And then mostly they will leave and then nishtha will come, which is firm faith. And then ashakti, ruchi. So until ruchi, there is still some discrimination within your mind, saying this is good, this is bad. But from the stage of ruchi, raganuga bhajan begins. What is that raganuga bhajan? There is this mood of spontaneous love and affection. Means then your mind no longer plays a major role. Until nishtha, it is buddhi purvika. Buddhi purvika means there is some sense of discrimination within you. This is good, this is bad, such and such. But when you come to the stage of ruchi, the path of spontaneous worship, then you have some inherent taste within you. That I should do this. Automatically. No need to even think, that should I do this, should I not do this? No. And automatically you will jump forward with greed. And then when you have that taste, ruchi, you will come to ashakti. And ashakti is when you will have a semblance of your spiritual form. And then bhav, and then prem. So this is the process, he said. He said, don't jump directly to bhav and prem. He said, begin from the root. So in this way, Gurudev has blessed us with such beautiful instructions. So now we will just read a few, at least 1 or 2 chapters from Gurudev's biography, and we will see how he appeared in this world, how he took his birth, and all this. Because, tomorrow is Mauni Amavasya also, so this tithi is also very auspicious. And in this way, if we listen to a few words about his appearance in this world, we will also feel very inspired to follow the tithi tomorrow. Now we can envision that pastime now of Gurudev taking birth. So now here it is said, we'll read like a couple of chapters. So in the Brahmin village of Tiwaripur, situated in the Buxar district of Bihar, India, near the banks of the holy Ganga, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj appeared in this world in the Vaishnav Brahman family of Pandit Baleshwar Nath Tiwari and Shriyuta Lakshmi Devi. So the name of Gurudev's parents were Baleshwar Nath Tiwari and Shriyuta Lakshmi Devi. So they were Sri Vaishnavas. Sri Vaishnavas means they were worshippers of Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. So we see that the Sri Vaishnavas, they have their origin in Ramanujacharya. So Ramanujacharya, he was the one who started this line. But then gradually there was an offshoot, a branch from this line. This branch was started by another Sri Vaishnava, and they were known as the Ramanandis. So Ramanandis, to this day in Vrindavan, the Sri Vaishnavas, you see, they're all Ramanandis. They're like a branch of Ramanujacharya Sri Vaishnavas. So this way, Gurudev's parents also, they were Ramanandi Vaishnavas. They were like staunch devotees, ardent devotees of Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. So Gurudev appeared in their village. So the Tiwaris were initiated in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, and they were descendants of the Shandilya Gotra. which is a Brahmanical lineage. They faithfully engaged in Bhakti Yoga as religious householders. They regularly hosted sadhus, and many such sadhus visited Tiwaripur in the month of January and February. Why? Because this Magh Mas is very auspicious. It is said that if you take a bath in the Yamuna or Ganga during this Magh Mas, you get the fruit of bathing in all the pilgrimage places. And also this Tiwaripur, where Gurudev's parents used to live, is a very auspicious place also. Because when Ram and Lakshman were taken away by Vishwamitra to kill all these demons, there's that Leela, that once Vishwamitra, he was performing a fire sacrifice. So then what would the demons do? The demons, they would come and they would urinate on the fire sacrifice, they would pass stool there, they would throw meat in there, they do all sorts of nonsense. And Vishwamitra, he could not do anything, he was helpless. Because Vishwamitra, he knew that if he'd become angry, he'd lose the power of his austerities. He'd lose all his austerities. And previously he had become so angry, he lost all his power. Now, Vishwamitra once, one damsel from heaven, when Menaka came, what did she do? Indra, he sent her to disturb Vishwamitra's austerities. And Vishwamitra, he heard the jingling of her ankle bells. The sound made by bangles, he opened his eyes, and he lost all the power of his austerities. And the second time also it happened. Indra sent Ramba. And what happened? Vishwamitra again, this time he did not be victimized by her. What did he do? He burned her to ashes by his wrath. And then what happened? Because of his anger, he lost all his austerities, the fruits of all his austerities. So therefore, Vishwamitra said, I cannot kill these demons myself. Although he was fully capable of doing so, because he was a Kshatriya. So therefore, what did he do? He went to Ayodhya. And when he went to Ayodhya, he went to Dasharath Maharaj, and then he said, give me your 2 sons, he said. Give me your 2 sons, and because you're a Kshatriya, I'll take your 2 sons, and I need these demons to be killed. So send me your 2 sons. So Dasharath Maharaj, he was immediately, his heart was shattered, because the 4 brothers, they had just returned from the Gurukul, from Vasishtha Muni's Gurukul. So he was thinking, how can I send my 2 sons away? So what did he do? Secretly he sent Bharat and Shatrughna instead of Ram and Lakshman. So then when Vishwamitra Rishi took Bharat and Shatrughna away, then what happened? Vishwamitra, he looked at Bharat and Shatrughna and he said, you see this path to the forest? It is full of demons, he said. So he said, we have 2 options. We can either go through the forest, killing the demons, or we can go around the forest. What do you think we should do? So Bharat and Shatrughna, they said, we should go around. No need to go straight. We'll go around to avoid the demons. So when Vishwamitra heard this, he became very angry. He said, you must not be Ram and Lakshman. Who are you? He said, I am Bharat and Shatrughna. And immediately Vishwamitra Rishi returned to Ayodhya. He said, he called out Dasharath Maharaj. He said, Dasharath, you are a great liar, he said. Instead of sending Ram and Lakshman, you send the other 2 brothers. I'll curse you, he said. And immediately Dasharath Maharaj, he fell at his feet. And he begged for forgiveness, saying, please forgive me. Maharaj, don't be angry. It's just that I cannot bear separation from Ram and Lakshman. So then Vasishtha, anyhow, he told Dasharath Maharaj, don't worry, you send your 2 sons, they'll get some nice training from who? From Vishwamitra. So then he sent Ram and Lakshman there. So when Ram and Lakshman went with Vishwamitra, there they killed this Taraka, Subahu, and then anyhow Marichi, what did Ram do? He shot his arrow and he sent Marichi very long, far away to Lanka. And then as you know, Marichi appeared in the form of a golden deer, and he was the reason for Sita being kidnapped by Ravana. So you say all these pastimes, they took place near Tiwari, near Buxar. And even that Leela, where Ramchandra, when he was walking, there was one stone that as soon as he stepped on, became a very beautiful lady. No, who was she? She was Ahilya, the wife of Gautam Rishi. So that place is called Ahilyavali. So this place Ahilyavali is also very near to Gurudev's birthplace, Tiwaripur. So therefore, that place in itself is very auspicious, very holy. So therefore, the people of that place, they are such serious devotees for Shri Sitaram. It is natural to them, devotion. Just as all the Brajavasis are naturally inclined towards the worship of Radha and Krishna, So were Gurudev's parents, naturally inclined to the worship of Sita and Ram. Gurudev would even say that I used to have a friend who was a devotee of Krishna. This friend of mine, he would sometimes tell me that, oh, why don't you worship Krishna? Ram sometimes is bound by maryada, by etiquette. No, Ram even had to renounce Sita. He even had to send Sita away. He even had to send Lakshman away. He sent everyone away. But Krishna, just see what he did. He married 16,000 queens who were imprisoned for like 1 whole year by his demon. Narkasur. Krishna was so merciful, so you should worship Krishna. Gurudev's friend would tell him, but Gurudev, he would take the side of Ram. He would say, my Ram, just see how serious he was. How committed he was to following his promises. But Krishna, see how naughty he was. Dancing with wives of other men. So this way, Gurudev would take the side of Ram. And then Gurudev would say, that in this way, I was so much inclined towards the worship of Sri Ramchandra. No. So this way, many such sadhus would visit Tiwaripur in the months of January and February. And then they would bathe in the Ganga there. So the Ganga was very close by. No. So in the early morning, these saintly people would bathe in the Ganga and they would absorb themselves in dhyan, in meditation, in kirtan, in hearing Harikatha, and they would perform fire ceremonies, which is yagyas. So this way, when every evening the sadhus, the brahmins and all the people of the nearby villages, they used to perform kirtan and they used to hear Harikatha at the home of Baleshwarnath Tiwari and his father Dhyan Chandra Tiwari, who were respected Vaishnava scholars. So the name of Gurudev's grandfather was Dhyan Chandra Tiwari. So when prominent Vaishnavas or sadhus were present, Pandit Tiwari, he requested them to speak to the assembled guests. So this way, Gurudev's father was very respectful towards all of them. He would tell them that please speak Harikatha in this way. No. Gurudev's father sometimes, I was just listening to one conversation that Gurudev had with some devotees in Mathura. There Gurudev was saying that when he was a small boy, his father was bathing him. When his father was bathing him, he told Gurudev that just as I am serving you now, you should also serve me in the future. So then Gurudev, when he heard this, he started weeping so much. He said, surely I will do, he said, I will always serve you, he said. But then as you know, Gurudev left home, after some years. He left home. So then, after many years, his father, he came to see Gurudev in Mathura. So when he came to see Gurudev in Mathura, he said that, I'm happy you're doing bhajan, he said. I'm happy you're staying here in Krishna's place, that you're doing bhajan. But he said, I have one last desire, he said. My last desire is that when I leave my body, you should be present before me, he said. That is my last desire. That when I leave this world, you should come. So then Gurudev said, yes, I will do. So then after some years, Gurudev, he received a telegram from his previous family. They said that, now our father, any moment he will depart. So he only wants to see you come. So then Gurudev immediately, he met with one brahmachari, Kunjabi Hari Prabhu. So Kunjabi Hari Prabhu, as you know, he was Gurudev's controller, very dear friend of Srila Gurudev also. He went with Kunjabi Hari Prabhu to Baksa. So there, Gurudev's father, he had stopped speaking, wouldn't speak to anyone. So then as soon as Gurudev came, immediately Gurudev, he introduced himself. Not even Gurudev, when he introduced himself by his name from his previous ashram, not as Narayan Maharaj. He said, your son Narayan Tiwari is here. So then he opened his eyes. So then immediately Gurudev's father came, he opened his eyes and he was weeping, saying, you came. And then Gurudev, he said, he spoke the Gopal mantra in his ears. I spoke the Gopal mantra and he said, always remember that Radha and Krishna are in Vrindavan on the banks of the Yamuna, he said, this should be a final remembrance. And this way Gurudev said, I bought some water from Radhakund, from Prayag, from the Yamuna. I put the Chanamrit of all these tirthas in his mouth. He said, I also bought some Mahaprasad from the temple. I also put little Mahaprasad in his mouth. And this way he said, my promise to you is that Yam Maharaj himself, he will never come. No, Yam or his dutas will never come and you will achieve a very good destination. Saying these words, then he took permission from his father and he left. And as soon as he reached the outskirts of the village, he heard the news that his father had left. This way he had Gurudev's father, out of all his children, he loved him so much. He loved him the most. So therefore, when the sadhus would speak Harikatha, then Gurudev would say, Gurudev's father, he would always be praying. So the sadhus bless him with a very good devotee child. No. So this way, the sadhus, when they were speaking Harikatha, then the sadhus said, in this life it is not possible to directly meet Bhagavan, but he is very kind and he sends his dear associates to this world. One must pray, Oh Prabhu, how may I develop a relationship with your associates? How will they become my dear friends and guardians? Relationships with saintly devotees will connect us with God, but how can one understand who is truly God's devotee? If one sincerely prays, God will grant the spiritual vision and knowledge to be able to recognize saintly personalities. So here the sadhu is telling Gurudev's father, that if you really want to have darshan of God, of Bhagavan, then you can only do so through his devotees. He's saying. So this way, when the sadhu said that tomorrow is Mauni Amavasya, so here he's speaking about the history of Mauni Amavasya. In ancient times, after Sati Devi burnt herself at the sacrificial arena of her father Daksha, because her husband Shiva was disrespected, then Lord Shiva thought there was no longer anyone qualified to hear the glories of Sri Hari. He had only considered Sati to be his dear friend. So after Sati left her body, Shiva absorbed himself fully in Samadhi. So here you see that Sati, when she went to her father's fire sacrifice, her father, he spoke many disrespectful things about her husband. He said, I don't care about your husband. He said, I don't even look at you as my daughter. He said, the day I've given you in marriage to him, I disowned you, I don't like you in any way, why did you come here? He spoke many disrespectful things. And then when Sati heard her father speaking in such a way, she said, because this body belongs to you, I can no longer tolerate being in this body. She said, very wretched body, she said. So immediately she entered into a trance, a great fire emanated from her body and her body was burned to ashes. So then when Lord Shiva heard this, he became so angry, because he thought there was some person who I could speak Harikatha to. It was not that he became angry because he was very attached to his wife. No, some people may think like this. The Lord Shiva is very attached to his wife. Therefore, when his wife died, he became very angry. He could not control himself. No. The only reason he became very angry was because his wife was a great Vaishnavi. No, one name of Sati or Durga Parvati is Vaishnavi. She was a great Vaishnavi. Therefore, he became very upset. So then Lord Shiva entered into Samadhi. He said, no, I do not wish to speak to anyone. So Shiva's duty is to relieve the burden of the universe by purifying the wicked desires and sins of living entities immersed in the darkness of ignorance. This task can only be accomplished by Harikatha and Harikirtan. But Shiva was left to himself and sat in trance. Without Harikatha, the entire universe became covered in darkness. So here Lord Shiva, what is his duty? His duty is that he cuts away this ignorance which is present in the hearts of all living entities. No, because he is the predominating deity of the mode of ignorance, Tamogun. He is Tamogun Adhisthatrika Devata. So in this way, without him, how would Harikirtan take place in this world? How would Harikatha be spoken in this world? Because Lord Shiva himself is the greatest Vaishnava, no? He is Vaishnavanam Yathasambhu. No. So this way, no one performed Bhakti Yoga. Inauspiciousness filled the entire world, and all religious ceremonies stopped. Nor would anyone even speak the name of Vishnu. So then, because Lord Shiva absorbed himself in Samadhi, because he felt so much separation from a dear devotee, everything stopped in this world. All good things. Gradually people became very sinful. Eventually, Sati reincarnated as Parvati in the Himalayas. The demigods prayed to Lord Shiva to accept Parvati as his wife. and returned to his universal duties. But he remained deep in trance. No, tomorrow is Mauni Amavasya. Gurudev, he appeared during this day of Mauni Amavasya. So this is the history behind Mauni Amavasya. No, Mauni means silence. So what is the reason behind Lord Shiva's silence? So Lord Shiva, he would not awaken from his trance, from his samadhi. So finally Vishnu and Brahma, they arrived to break Shiva's trance. They requested him, "Oh Bholenath, someone has come to hear Hari Katha. Accept Parvati as your companion and renew your universal responsibilities." So Brahma and Vishnu, they said, "Now at least you resume your responsibilities, because your wife Sati has again taken birth again in this world. So accept her as your wife and again continue your Harikatha, Harikirtan." So Mauni Amavasya is the day Lord Shiva awoke from his trance by the intervention of Lord Vishnu and Brahma. Tomorrow is the day of Mauni Amavasya. Tomorrow is a very auspicious day. Even all the Brajavasis, people from all around the world, they take bath in Ganga, Yamuna, and they worship Shiv Thakur, because that day is very auspicious in itself. So Lord Shiva broke his silence to recite the glories of Sri Hari. Taking tulsi leaves and Ganga water, he promised, "I will accept Parvati after 1 month." So 1 month later, when the 14th day of the dark moon arrived, what is the 14th day called? Chaturdashi. So Lord Shiva accepted Parvati as his wife on that day. That day is known as Shivaratri. So here you see, on tomorrow he broke his trance. Means he awoke from his trance, and then 1 month after, that is Shivaratri, he married Parvati on that day. So when the sadhu finished speaking, Pandit Tiwari invited him to stay at his home. So Gurudev's father, he said, "Please stay at my house." So Pandit Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi did not want to have children. Their first child had died in infancy, causing them great sadness. And they knew that their spiritual lives would be disturbed if an ordinary soul entered their lives. No, they were great devotees. They thought that if we have children, any mundane child, then this mundane child, what would he do? He'd steal away all our love and affection. He'd steal our time away. He would ruin our spiritual lives. So therefore they humbly asked the sadhu, "What should we do? Our relatives are pressurizing us to have children." No, if you're a grihastha and if you don't have a child, then it is said that your marriage life is like a desert. It is said. Whole point of being grihastha is that you have children. It is said. No, so here they are saying, our relatives are pressuring us to have children, but we fear that if an ordinary soul comes to our home, we will become entangled in worldly life. So they're saying we don't want to have an ordinary boy as our son. See, the great devotees, no, so they want some nice devotee to appear in their house. So the sadhu advised them, when Shivaratri comes, bathe before sunrise in the Ganga, then return and worship Lord Shiva. Shiva is the greatest devotee of Vishnu, and he has excellent relationships with the Supreme Lord. If he is satisfied with your worship and prayer, he will petition Sri Hari to have a pure devotee born in your home. So the sadhu told them that every day you worship Lord Shiva. By worshipping him, then what will happen? You will be blessed with a very nice Vaishnava son, he said. He said you should pray daily to Sri Krishna while reciting the Bhagavad Gita. Because the Gita is they are the words of Krishna himself. Krishna is present wherever the Gita is respected. And wherever Krishna is present, so are his devotees. So you should serve all the devotees who visit your village, because it is the easiest way to please Krishna. So the sadhu told them that along with worshipping Lord Shiva, you also serve all the devotees. And you recite the Bhagavad Gita every day. So then, Baleshwarnath Tiwari and his wife, they accepted the sadhu's instructions and they promised to serve the devotees and to regularly recite the Holy Gita. And then they would pray to Krishna for the association of his pure devotees. And then every day they would meditate on one particular verse of the Bhagavad Gita. So in this way, they would every day pray that we have a very nice Vaishnava son. Srila Gurudev's parents would go to the Ganga every day with a Sankirtan party. So every day they would go to the Ganga with many devotees doing Kirtan. Okay? So then after bathing, they returned home, applied tilak on their bodies and they worshipped Sri Bhagavan. On the day of Shivaratri, Pandit Baleshwarnath Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi, they served Bhagavan throughout the day and they stayed awake all night to worship Krishna, to worship Shiva. No, on the day of the Shivaratri, whole day, whole night they were worshipping Lord Shiva. They prayed to Shiva that they would be blessed with a son who was a great devotee of Krishna. See, they did not ask anything mundane or material from him. They asked only that we have a great devotee of Krishna appear as our son. On Shivaratri, the custom is to stay awake and perform worship 4 times. From 6 to 9 in the evening, 9 to 12 in the night, 12 to 3 and 3 to 6. So then the whole night they stayed awake. And then this way, Pandit Baleshwarnath Tiwari and his wife, they sat in the Shiva temple and they recited the Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. So while staying in the temple of Lord Shiva, the whole day, the whole night they recited the Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. And then, next they performed a fire sacrifice and they did Abhishek of the Shiva Linga. They prayed, O Shiv Thakur, may a great devotee of Krishna take birth in our family. Many devotees of Ram are in our family, but now we will be blessed if a devotee of Krishna appears. So they're saying that we already have so many devotees of Sri Ramchandra, but may a son who has pure love for Krishna appear in our family. Then we will only hear Krishna Katha from him. So then, after they concluded their prayers and worship in the early morning, they had a vision. Thousands of effulgent devotees were singing the holy names of Sri Hari while dancing in ecstasy. They had glowing golden complexions and long arms, which they held high in the air as they danced along. So while Gurudev's parents fell asleep, they had this vision where they saw the devotees dancing and singing. As these devotees approached the homes of the Tiwari, the house of the Tiwaris, Panditji and Lakshmi Devi, they gazed at the divine personalities approaching their home and they thought, we usually have Kirtan in the evening. How is it that Kirtan is happening in the morning? And as all the devotees approached the house, the intensity of the Kirtan increased. And one of the devotees, he came forward and with a sweet smile on his face, he entered the hearts of Pandit Tiwari and Lakshmi Devi. So then when they had this vision of all the devotees doing Kirtan, then what happened? One of the devotees, he entered their hearts. So they awoke suddenly, imbued with joy and attraction. Gurudev also, when he had that Gauranitai painting being done by Shamrani Didi, he said, I'm also there in this painting. He said, you look closely, he said. And she said, who are you? She said, that you'll have to realize by your sadhana. He said, I will not say it. So this is the picture there. So as all these devotees, they held their arms high in the air like this, and as they were waving them, doing Kirtan, then one of them, they entered into the hearts of Pandit Tiwari and his wife. So they always remembered that dream. In due course, Lakshmi Devi gave birth to her beloved son. On February 6, 1921, the Tiwari's family guru, who was a Brahmin called Pandit Mishra, who was also initiated in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, he visited their home from his village of Majiriya Gaon. So Pandit Tiwari welcomed his guru, he offered pranams to him, gave him a seat and he washed his feet. After speaking together for some time, Panditji offered his guru some prasad. So Gurudev's father, he offered him some Mahaprasad and then he gave him place to rest for the night. In the early morning, Lakshmi Devi gave birth to a beautiful boy. It was a few minutes past 4 in the morning on Mauni Amavasya, and between the auspicious Vedic months of Pushya and Magh. So on this day, Mauni Amavasya, at 4 in the morning, Gurudev was born. The family guru had already awoken and gone to the Ganga. Upon returning, he heard a boy who had just been born and he went immediately to bless that boy. Many sadhus were residing at the house of the Tiwaris, and they were observing vows of silence on the day Lord Shiva was petitioned to arise from his meditation. So all these devotees also, they were also silent. Because they thought that Lord Shiva is also silent, so we should also be silent. But when they saw this effulgent baby boy, they all gathered and they all began to sing loudly, Shriman Narayana Narayana Hari Hari, Shriman Narayana Narayana Hari Hari. So they all started chanting the names of Sri Hari. See, all of them taken a vow of silence. They said, we will not speak a single word. But when they saw this baby boy, automatically their hearts swelled in joy. They could not contain themselves. They started singing Narayan Hari Hari. So the family guru, Pandit Mishra, he saw this baby boy and he saw that he had such beautiful blue eyes, a golden complexion, and he had a white forehead adorned with the district mark of tilak. So Gurudev automatically had a sign of tilak on his forehead. And the auspicious signs of a jug, lotus, flag, and urdhvareka, which is a line which points upwards. They were all on the boy's feet, and there were 10 chakras on his fingertips. Observing all these markings, Pandit Mishra told Gurudev's father, you are extremely fortunate. This boy is not from your small village. He is actually a great devotee of Sri Hari. I will draw up his birth chart immediately. Upon seeing the birth of the boy, Panditji and his wife Lakshmi Devi, they realized that their son must have been the same personality who had appeared in their dreams. Now all the devotees are performing kirtan, and one of them entered into their house. They said, oh, the same person has appeared in our house now. So everyone was so happy. So then Pandit Mishra, after he made the chart, the birth chart of their son, he said, this boy should be given the name Shriman Narayan. And since their son was born on Mauni Amavasya, they felt that Lord Shiva had blessed them with a special child. Therefore, Gurudev's grandmother, Dulari Devi, she said, he is peaceful and he does not cry. So we will give him the name Bholanath. Bholanath is the name of Shiva, meaning the simple-hearted Lord. No, this is Gurudev's pet name. He was always called Bholanath. So then Pandit Mishra, then he told Gurudev's parents, your son has a very auspicious chart. It shows that he will be a Chakravarti Maharaj. Chakra means a wheel and Varta means the middle of the wheel, no? Like the axle. Therefore, Chakravarti is one whom society will revolve around. And since he has conquered all directions, he will be very famous. Your son will liberate everyone from the bondage of Maya by leading them on the path of Bhakti. So this is Gurudev's Bhakti. Now, see how the description has been given. He was born on the day of Mauni Amavasya. And what is Mauni Amavasya? The day that Brahma and Vishnu, they approached Lord Shiva, that he break his vow of silence. So in this way, when Gurudev appeared also, all these devotees were also taken a vow of silence. As soon as they saw him, automatically their hearts became so happy with joy. They all started chanting the names of Sri Hari. So you see, that is the symptom of a Mahabhagavat Vaishnava. A Mahabhagavat Vaishnava, wherever he goes, automatically one will be inspired to chant. Even if one has no previous impressions, has no impressions from his previous lives, even if he has no impressions from his present life also, but just upon seeing a pure devotee, automatically he will be drawn to chant the names of Sri Hari. Automatically, they cannot even help themselves. This is the symptom of a Mahabhagavat. So therefore we see, wherever Gurudev went, everywhere, he made everyone chant the names, not just of Sri Krishna or Srimati Radhika herself. No. This was, you see, he only everywhere he went, there were 2 kirtans he preached. One was Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, and the other was Radhe 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 Jai Jai Shri Radhe. So anywhere he went, he only emphasized on these kirtans. No. Why? Because he said that when you chant Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, who will be pleased most? Srimati Radhika will be pleased. And when you chant Radhe Radhe Radhe, who will be pleased most? Krishna will be pleased. So therefore in this way you're pleasing Radha and Krishna together. No. In this way everywhere he went, he told everyone to chant the names of Sri Radha and Krishna. And then as far as I can remember, when he came to Bangalore also in 2009, he told everyone, the last instruction he ever gave was, I invite all of you to come to Rajmandal Dham, he said. This was the last instruction I ever heard from him in 2009. He said, I invite all of you to come here to Rajmandal Dham. So what did Gurudev do? He built a house for everyone in Rajmandal Dham. No. Anywhere he went, he said, what is my intention? My intention is not that you build grand temples or that you do this, that. My intention is that I want to make your hearts into a kunja, he said. I want to turn your hearts into a kunja where Radha and Krishna will stay there. And where you can render service to Radha and Krishna, he said. He said, this painting that I have manifested, this Seva Kunj painting, it's not just some painting, he said. He said, I want your hearts to be like Seva Kunj, he said. By having this painting drawn, I have given that impression to everyone that everyone's heart should be like this Seva Kunj. No. So therefore, Gurudev would say that when I give initiation to anyone, what would I do? I request Paramatma to kindly leave, and I request Radha and Krishna to appear in hearts of the devotees. So that's how merciful he was, that's how Rasik he was. Such a Rasik Vaishnava he was. So tomorrow is the day of his appearance. So it's a very auspicious day. And therefore, if we are really greedy to have our anarthas, if you really desire that our hearts be free of all these anarthas, then tomorrow, beginning from Brahma Muhurta itself, from 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, throughout the day, throughout the night, if we only keep thinking about Srila Gurudev, about his glories, about his specialities, about his teachings, then how much benefit we are getting? No. As a disciple, if we remember our Guru on the day of his appearance, with like as much longing as we possibly can, that how much benefit, how many anarthas are leaving us on these very powerful days. So therefore, we should be greedy to make the best use of this day, that is tomorrow. Okay, so therefore, praying at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev's near and dear followers, we will only pray that they guide us on the proper observance of this tithi, and that they make us truly observe the Vyasa Puja of Srila Gurudev, truly observe who he really is, truly realize also in our hearts what his glories are, what his specialities are, what he came to give, how we can make our lives successful. If we offer this one prayer at the lotus feet on this day, that is tomorrow, surely our prayers will be fulfilled. Normally we always pray, that may our desires be fulfilled, but tomorrow surely it will be fulfilled. So therefore, we should only offer this one prayer at the lotus feet of his near and dear ones, because they have that relationship with him. Therefore, we will now stop here and we will prepare ourselves for this most auspicious tithi, which is going to appear tomorrow. Ancha kalpatarubhishya kripasinabhyacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.